Oh, we are live. The girls are about to head out, so maybe I'm a little late, but they're walking out the door. Oh, we're all still alive.
Hi. Bye.
Oh, throwing Dad's phone.
That might have been the dogs as well.
No, that was definitely her.
Because I'm the one who tripped over the charger.
Yeah, it's got its
Hey,
around.
good morning. We're glad you're joining us this morning on Dad with the Phone. I don't think I left you any options not to at least stop by and see what the heck was going on. Today I'm going to do something I normally don't do, or I have at least told myself I wasn't going to do. I'm going to speculate with you a little bit, but I want you to know that my speculation is based on what I believe to be factual information that has come my way via very, 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 very close people to. When I say this, you just understand that these people that I've been talking to are close to this case. They're as close as anyone on the face of the planet to this case. And the information that has been provided to me seems to be about the most accurate information that I've been able to find out there. With that being said, everything I'm about to tell you at some point in history, I will release the original source of the information, but not at this time. So at that, when this is all said and done, and y'all are like, "Hey, play part 2 of the Gannon case. Play the stuff that you never showed us. Play the things that you never could tell us about because you didn't want to interfere with the case." I'm gonna play all that. I got it all, and I know that frightens the crap out of people, but the problem is if what I always want to do is I want that the story to come to you firsthand, right? If I have a phone conversation with someone, I don't want to try to relay what that phone conversation was to you. So I record everything. I live in a state where it's a one-party state where you can record everything. So everything I'm about to relay to you isn't information that I sleuthed. I want to be very, very clear. Listen to me. This isn't information that I sleuthed. This isn't information that I solicited. This isn't information I started making phone calls trying to get people to tell me what the hell was going on. I did not go out looking for I was sitting, my buddy, when this information came into me, I had a real life buddy sitting right across from me, and we were chit-chatting about something completely different. All right. So for some reason, maybe it's just because I put my cell phone out there and I put my face out there and I invite you into my home. Maybe everybody just feels comfortable talking to me when they actually know I will probably at one point put those conversations out into the world. And so over the last couple of days, I have had conversations with multiple people involved in this case. After Michael Allen did a press conference, bam, phone call rang, bam, phone call, up the mountain, phone call was going up. As I was running to the damn political candidate forum, phone calls coming in. Record. I'm going to take this time to give a shout out to a couple of apps. I use this app a lot. I use Display Recorder to record phone conversations. A Display Recorder for iPhone. I have the Pro version that allows you to do internal audio, external audio, or a mix of the both. Just a sleuthing, record everything. The reason you record everything, and I'm going to take a lesson from Vicky White, because you never know. You just never know. Vicky White is a mother of Mindy Lee. Mindy Lee went missing on December 5th, 2010, not December 5th. The day after Thanksgiving, she was found on December 1st, 2010. Mom recorded everything, every conversation she had with cops, attorneys, lawyers, and you just take a lesson from Vicky White. Record everything. Today, though, is complete speculation based on facts that I have gathered or things that I believe to be fact in this case. And really what you have to do is you have to go back almost a year and a half. Understanding that Letecia Stauch and Al Stauch have been married sometime 2015. I don't know the exact date. I'm just saying 2015. We're in 2020. So they've been married for, longer than a year or two. And when we begin to learn about this case, the first thing we were told was Al was on a trip. He was gone, right? Later information would come out that Al is an active National Guard, which means he's basically gone a lot. He travels a lot. He flies out. National Guard gets called up in New York. National Guard gets called up in California. Whatever unit. I'm not a military man. I don't pretend to be. But I know enough about the military that the National Guard is getting called to different parts of the country all the time. And Al was active National Guard. Thank you for your service, Al. I don't know, like the National Guard is one of those things I always don't. If the National Guard comes to town, it's because something very bad has happened. So these guys see the worst of what happens in the country. So it's not an easy job. But he travels. He travels a lot. Now we look at the family situation of Al, Letecia, and the kids. And I'm going to be very honest with you right now. If you were to ask me how many kids were in the house of Al and Letecia Stauch, I actually probably would take a guess and say 3 or 4, right? That's what I would say. I think we have Harley, Gannon, Lena, and then I think there's one other kid. I'm going to turn to chat for 2 seconds. I'm not going to pick. By the way, I'm not paying attention to chat. Is there only 3? Is that all of them? Harley, Gannon, Lena. Well, who's the other one that texted me? Because I thought, is that what it is? Just 3. Okay, just 3. Just 3. Everybody's saying 3. Okay, so is there a 4th child? Does maybe Tisha has a 4th child? Because I thought she texted me that was either so-and-so or so-and-so. All right. So you look at the dynamics of the house, the family home. The father's traveling. And Letecia is at home to take care of the kids. So the one thing I know for sure is that from the witness list, there are like 3 banks or 4 banks. I can't name them. I think it's Wells Fargo, Bank of America, USAA, and I think there's a Colorado bank. But either way, there's like 4 banks listed. Now, I have family of 5. We have maybe untraditional, but we probably have 5 bank accounts in our household, right? Local bank, national bank, PayPal accounts, Vimeo accounts, those kind of things, business accounts, stuff like that. So it's not uncommon for people to have multiple banks. So that she would have to have access to money. She's taking care of the family. Al's check may go in one bank and then they have to transfer to this bank that Letecia uses to buy groceries or whatever. So this is a family dynamic that's built over a marriage of 5 years and all these different things happening. Now, the one bank that stuck out to me, and the reason it stuck out to me was because there was multiple employees listed. Some of the employees have USAA right under their name. Some of these employees do not have USAA under their name. But when I looked at this witness list, I began to go through it line by line by line, not with you, just with me. And all of a sudden I begin to look, and you can go check this. I'm not going to break down the details of these people's names, by the way. I'm not going to call these people out. If you want to go look at the witness list, you can go do the sleuthing yourself, because the people who brought this information to me, they did some work. They did some work to get phone numbers. They did some work to get information. They did some work to contact and send these people to contact me. Have I talked to witnesses? Yes. That's why this is complete speculation. This is speculation on my part. This is speculation that I understand to be speculation, because I don't want to do anything to interfere with the case, but we are captivated by this case. I am captivated by this case. You don't have to be captivated. You don't have to be. I am captivated. I sat in that room. I listened to the DA. I looked at Letecia Stauch. I looked at the witness list, and then people call me. And I'm captivated by this case. I'm captivated by what drives someone to do this. I'm captivated by what motivates someone to do this. I'm captivated on what a 5-year marriage can then all of a sudden turn into this. That's what I'm captivated by. The human behavior of the situation that is set in front of me. So before all this goes down, we can establish that Letecia and Al have a marriage, 5 years, kids involved, bank accounts involved. What happens if Al's missing, or if Al is on a trip, not missing. If Al's on a trip and something happens with the children? Letecia's in charge. For Letecia to be in charge of children that aren't hers, she would either have to have adopted them, which we know is not true in Gannon's case, or she would have to have some sort of custody order that gave her legal right to make decisions of life and death in Gannon's situation. She would have to have some sort of piece of paper, legal document, that if Al was out of town and something happened, that Letecia could make these decisions immediately, that she would have the legal right to make these decisions. I think it's called like a custody order or something. She would have to have some sort of custody order. With that custody order, Letecia could do a lot of things. She could take Gannon to the doctor. She could take Gannon to the hospital. She could, if he had to have surgery, she could approve the surgery. She could approve things at school. She could pull him and sign him out. She legally has custody. She's not Gannon's mother. She's Gannon's stepmom, right? But step parents have to have some sort of something. With those documents, you could pull a life insurance policy out. And you could actually pull a life insurance policy out that would remain anonymous to everyone else. No one else would know about it. Letecia could go pull an individual life insurance policy out. She could have pulled one out on Al. She could have pulled one out on Gannon. She could have pulled one out, on just about. Does a life insurance policy exist on Gannon? I don't know. I don't. This is complete speculation. If she was going to pull a life insurance policy out with the intent to do harm, that would be a premeditator for the death penalty. Hey, Michael Allen, I know you know this. I also know you haven't ruled out the death penalty either, Michael Allen. I'm talking to you, DA, because I know you're watching. They call me the social media guy, but you would already know that. That's one of the aggregates for the death penalty, is that if you kill someone for money or for gain, I don't know the proper term or anything, but if you kill someone to make money, that's an aggregate for the death penalty. If she took a life insurance policy out, it could explain why there's 4 or 5 employees from USAA on the witness list. It's all hypothetical. About that witness list, let me tell you what happens in a case. I'm going to do you some education real quick, okay? Because people are like, Michael, have you seen the witness list? It's freaking it's huge. The witness list is huge, right? Let me tell you something about a witness list in a case like this. Let me tell you something about the 4th Judicial District DA's office. When that initial witness list comes out, state endorsed witness list, when that initial witness list comes out, it's like a little parable. It is like a fisherman in the sea, and he's looking for bait fish. He's looking for bait fish. And he gets up on the front of his bow, and all of a sudden he sees the birds overhead. He's head that way, and he gets out there, and he throws his big cast net. Boom! And he lands the biggest net full of bait fish he can get. I'm not calling the witnesses bait. I'm just trying to explain to you why that witness list looks like it does. 2 reasons. I heard Scott Rice. Oh, Scott, I got one you didn't get. I listened to, if you haven't heard Scott Rice, Crime Talk TV, he did a video, I don't know, yesterday, day before, talking about what's been released, the arraignment stuff, but he didn't get this. He says, I don't know. I heard him say it. He says, I don't know why they released the witness list first and not the arrest affidavit. That doesn't make a lot of sense, right? But he tells his explanation about this. The reason they released the witness list with such a long list of people is because they wanted to confuse a little bit. Right? You throw a big cast net and somebody says, what'd you catch in that cast net? And you go, here, if you want to name all the fish, there they are. That's all the bait. You can name every last one of them. Here's their names. We'll give you their names. So that witness list is the first cast that collected all those fish, and they put them in a bucket. Now they're going to start plucking those fish out one by one. They're going to begin to examine those fish. Say, that's a prize bait right there. We need to keep that bait in this side and then need this bait over here, right? Now, again, banks were listed. 4 or 5 banks on the witness list were listed. From my understanding and from my sources, these are the best sources money cannot buy because I don't pay them a dime. We have determined that on that witness list, on that bait, that big catch of bait, when it comes to the banks, they are real interested in USAA. Real interested. If, in fact, Letecia Stauch was planning this, and if, in fact, she may or may not have taken out a life insurance policy, 6, 8, 10, maybe a year ago, it could very easily be motive. when it comes to murder, money and love are probably your two greatest motivators. I did this for someone I love. I did this for someone they paid me. I did this because I collected. It's simple. It's simple. There's very few things that will drive people to murder people. Love and money are two things that will definitely drive someone to murder. This is all speculation, by the way. Speculation. We know Letecia Stauch is a canary. She started singing. She started singing to her local community first on the Lorson Ranch community page. She started singing all kinds of things rather quickly. I think it was, I had to go back and check. I think, looking for a snot rag, kids. Coronavirus is getting us all. I think if we go back to the press conference, you'll find a clip where the question is asked or the answer and the response is given. It is in the opinion of the FBI that there is no further damage or no further danger to any children in the area. Statement something like that. That statement is, it's a broad statement, but what you have to look at that statement and what he's really saying is we got the one we knew was responsible all along. My buddy was guarding Letecia Stauch the other day, straight up. I didn't even realize it. I hadn't talked to him and I haven't talked to him. I still have not talked to him since that day. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm not throwing him. He is not in way, shape, swore. I would swear on the Bible. He don't even tell his wife what's going on at work. I know that for a fact. But what I want you to understand is sometimes I have sources that I don't even know I have. Because I know everybody from the homeless person to the mayor's wife, here in Woodland Park at least. But I realize that I know a lot of people in Colorado Springs too. And when there's a list of people that comes out publicly, you're like, oh my God, I think I know so-and-so who introduced me to that person. I have it on pretty good authority from the moment the public knew Gannon was missing. I mean, from Lorson Ranch at about 6 something till that night that they searched into the next morning. I have it on pretty good sources that from the moment Gannon went missing, the cops were never looking at anyone else but Letecia Stauch, little teabag. Little teabag. There has never been another suspect. There probably never will be. There'll never be a look at anyone else. That this sole damn thing pointed to her the very moment Gannon was publicly announced that the cops knew about Gannon missing. They weren't looking at anyone but her. I have also gained information from documents that were released yesterday that show when the police affidavit was sealed. They knew at least 4 days, maybe 5 days in advance And then 5 days prior to that, you got to believe they were already ready to arrest her. They were trying to get their ducks in a row so that they could then take it to a judge, get that arrest warrant made. The judge sealed it on February 28th. They didn't even arrest her. Remember, it was a leap year. We got an extra day in there. She had an extra leap. They didn't even arrest her till the 3rd. They knew at least 10 or 15 days prior to that they were going to make an arrest. But what I have found out is actually the day that Gannon went missing, Letecia Stauch didn't make a move without the FBI knowing, because the FBI officer said when we arrested her, there was no more danger to the community. He told me exactly at that moment that they had her from day one, and I didn't even see it till I took a second look. I'm going to let that digest for a second. Now, if in fact, and I'm not going to let it digest because I can't stop. If in fact they knew from the very get-go, if this is more than speculation, if this is fact, if you take this as fact, then all of a sudden, everything else becomes very, very clear. I have it on pretty good authority that Letecia Stauch is a liar. Anybody else want to agree with that? Is that a rumor or is that fact? Letecia Stauch is a liar. I have said this in the past, and if you're just joining Dad with the Phone, don't take this out of context. I'm a much better liar than I am an honest man, but I try my best to be the latter. Letecia Stauch couldn't tell a lie without also giving us truth. It's impossible. It's impossible for someone who's trying to tell a lie to convince a world to not drop a little truth with those lies. She wants credibility so that then she can lead us down a path that she wants to write. I keep coming back to some statements she made. And I just want to speculate. I just want to speculate with you. If in fact the cops were looking at her from day one, if in fact they're better investigators than me, if in fact they have more resources than me, they probably had people following her. They might have been listening to her phone conversations. They damn sure were watching her social media. And they didn't even have to go far to turn on the TV and get prime time interviews. They were watching Dad with the Phone when Dad with the Phone released the phone conversation. I know that for a fact. So they've been watching Letecia Stauch since the day Gannon went missing. From the day we found out, from the day the Lorson Ranch community found out on the Lorson Ranch community page, the first public announcement. Can you keep an eye out? Have you seen anything suspicious? Have you seen any suspicious vehicles? And if they've been watching her since day one, issued 107 plus search warrants. Some of those search warrants were issued 5 days in advance of her arrest or more, longer. I'm going to give y'all a hint. And this one's going to blow your mind. This one, you're going to come back and say, Dad with the Phone told us that. Because this one will come out. I could only have this information. I could only have this information if I had someone in there. So I'm trying to validate myself a little bit to you because the next couple of statements I'm going to make are going to be completely hypothetical. This one's going to be a hypothetical that you might call me Mystic Mac because I think it'll be very clear in the paperwork when the paperwork comes out. Y'all gonna have to wait 2 seconds about that cliffhanger for a sec. All right, I didn't want to lose myself. All right. When the search warrants come out, these 107 search warrants, you're going to see layers of search warrants. Here's a search warrant for PayPal. Here's a search warrant for the PayPal employees records we want. Here's a search warrant for the PayPal employment records. Here's the search warrant for, you're going to see layers, right? So there's 5 for PayPal. USAA is going to have 27 search warrants. I'm just kidding. I don't know the number. USAA is going to have a high number of search warrants because I know they're looking at least 4 employees, right? So they're going to stack all the way down to each one of those employees. That's going to be a lot of search warrants. There's going to be a ton of search warrants for vehicles, Al's truck, Letecia's car, the house, any properties, storage units, all that stuff that Al owns. Anything Al owns, there's going to be a search warrant to Al about searching any of that property, all of that property. There's going to be search warrants for video camera surveillance. There's going to be search warrants for, there's search warrants going to be layered, stacked deep for Kohl's and Petco. There's going to be search warrants for different 7-Eleven. There's a search warrant for, it's going to be stacks for 7-Eleven just to get video footage, right? So there's going to be multiple search warrants for different things. But when it comes to things like Al, we're liable to see 20 search warrants just for Al. Here's a prediction. Not one of those search warrants for Al was ever executed. The reason why is because he gave consent on everything. Take that for fact or fiction. You call me Mystic Mac, whatever. All I know is that out of the 107 search warrants, however many were served to Al Stauch, not one of them had to be executed because he gave consent on all of them. Letecia tells a story to the press. They've been watching her since day one. She begins to tell this story to Spencer. All of you guys, if you don't know Spencer, I think it's Spencer Wilson, maybe. Spencer and I got acquainted at the first appearance of Letecia. We sat next to each other. We were cracking jokes about Sam Kramer together. I promise. We were cracking jokes out with the Gazette guy, Lance, from the Gazette, and going back and forth. Spencer's phone went off, but Spencer is the one who got the exclusive interview with Letecia, with a famous interview where you see Harley come into a view and tell a little story. And everybody wants to talk about the lies in the interview. I want to talk about the truth in the interview. Letecia tells a story and I don't know quote for quote of the story. You guys can go back and watch it. But if I remember correctly, the story goes somehow like we were illegally detained by law enforcement. And they wanted this or they wanted that. Some keys, maybe a phone. But nevertheless, she tells a story that she was somehow detained by law enforcement without her lawyers, questioned by law enforcement without her lawyers. And in that story, I think she tells a version of it somewhere that like she went shopping for clothes. What if I were to tell you every one of those things was true? She did all of this. There's a record of this. When she was shopping for clothes, she was detained. Some stuff was confiscated. And then she was released. Remember, they were watching her the whole damn time. So that means law enforcement knew where she was shopping at. They knew where she was going to be before she was there. They were probably live pinging her phones at the time. This is why they knew and went and could go get what they needed to get from her, because they knew she had it on her. What if I were to tell you that it's a common practice for law enforcement to not go chase criminals? Sometimes they'll just invite the criminal to them. And I have reason to believe that law enforcement made a few phone calls to Letecia. It's like the rest of the story, right? She tells us a lot of the story that happened in this little altercation between her and law enforcement. But it's what she doesn't tell us that could speak volumes. See, I think she failed to mention that law enforcement made a phone call to her and say, hey, we would like for you to come on down by the station. And when she didn't come on by, okay, we'll come get you at Kohl's. No big deal. We know where you're at. Remember, FBI tells us from the very get-go, your kids are safe. We got the one we know is responsible from the beginning. But they weren't done yet. They didn't want to be done yet. They were much, 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 much smarter than that, this law enforcement group down here in Colorado. Listen, we don't need to take her yet. Let's just get the phone, get the keys. We know what she's doing. Shopping for clothes, are you? That's because the truth is you were kicked out of the house. Immediately you were left without a vehicle. Yeah, you needed a rental car. We know you needed a rental car the day after the report came out. We know because law enforcement was looking at you from the get-go, girl. They took your car, took your clothes. Yeah, we understand everything was boxed up at the house. The whole house was a crime scene. Yeah, we know you don't have anywhere to go. We know you don't have a car. We know it wasn't shortly after this that you would run. You would run. Heading to South Carolina. I got to go home because I don't have a car. I don't have a house. And the cops are chasing me. I wonder how long between hanging up with law enforcement and telling them, hey, I'm not going to come down there. No, I'm not going to show up. Click to when you saw those lights. I wonder how long it took. Did they wait a little bit, Letecia? Did they wait? Or did they just hammer you because they wanted to get it? I don't know. But what I do know is my children were safe the moment they got you. tells me you did this on your own. A lot of witnesses listed on that list. You start decoding that witness list, it will lead you down rabbit holes you never even knew existed. There is a possibility that Letecia released video of right before something happened. There is a possibility that something happened at the house. She told us in that interview or on social media or somewhere she told us, somewhere you can find this, she said the police found blood in the garage. It's like a half-truth. It's like a half-truth. It's really a lie. They found blood in the house. They also found evidence of a fire. This is all speculation. If a fire took place at the house the day before Gannon went missing, and if in fact there was at least one video that was released and confirmed to be the day before Gannon went missing, and if you listen to that video, you'll hear Gannon say, "I'm bleeding." We know because of the noise in the background what day that was. It's the day the helicopter went down with Kobe Bryant. Uh-oh. I might die because my battery's dying. Bingo. Whew. If there was a fire in the house that Gannon caused because he knocked over a candle, could Gannon have been mortally wounded by the fire accident? It's possible. Could Gannon have been mortally wounded for the consequences Letecia dealt out for causing a fire? What happened to cause Gannon to bleed? From the hours between when that video was taken to when we all found out Gannon was missing. It was just a day. Just a day. What if there was more video that Letecia didn't release? Michael Allen said, we got tons of video. What he should have said is we got hours of video. You can't weigh video. You can't measure how much video you have by weight, Michael Allen. Just as a film guy, all right? It's length. We have hours. Maybe we have 10,000 hours. I don't know how many hours they got. They got hours of video. There's video at the car wash where Letecia Stauch cleaned up the car. There's video at the airport. There's video at the Petco and the Kohl's and the 7-Eleven. But there is a plethora of Letecia's own videos and photos that will be used against her. Letecia told some truth. They did go on a hike on Sunday. She did. In fact, leave her phone. And she did, in fact, tell us she took a selfie. She did, in fact, leave her phone. She did, in fact, take a selfie. This is all speculation, folks. If y'all are screaming, shut up. I'm not even reading comments, by the way. You could be screaming at me to shut up. You're ruining this case. You're going to mistrial it. If a dude on the internet speculating about a case can mistrial a case, what in the world has this world come to? Then we better rewrite the rules. If me speculating on my dang internet show can ruin a case, she told us some truth. Yes, she did. If, in fact, there's more video from the night before Gannon went missing, then there were 3 children in that house. When I went through that witness list, I expected to see Harley's name. I'll be honest, I did not expect to see an 8-year-old Lena's name until I went back and listened to the video and realized Lena was a witness to whatever happened the night before. It breaks my heart to think that an 8-year-old may have to be a witness in a homicide case. It breaks my heart. It makes me remember, it takes me back to other cases. It takes me back to young daughters who may have seen their mother abducted. It takes me back to other cases. to think that a sister may have witnessed something, that they may have to somehow take a testimony of an 8-year-old. If that doesn't break your heart, you're just not human. This is not even about the actual thing that happened to Gannon to break your heart. This is about what people alive today have still running through their head, and they're 8 years old. Golly. Michael Allen, if you want to make a statement, if you really want to make a statement to the horrendous nature of this crime, you should charge her with the death penalty. You should lay that death penalty on the table. She has to have met most or all of those aggregates if she did something in front of an 8-year-old. And you're going to have an 8-year-old testify. You should lay the death penalty just for a statement. I know that they will never use it here on her. Just lay it out there so that people know. I'm speculating that Letecia did this. In a court of law, she may be innocent until proven guilty. On Dad with the Phone today, I'm going on she's guilty, okay? It's just speculation. Unless there is video evidence of what happened, I feel like the cause of Gannon's death is only going to be revealed to us when Gannon is found. I begin to think that she would confess because of how much she was singing. I'm speculating that if she confesses, it will be a web of woven truth and lies that will be so closely tied that the defense may be able to use her own testimony even if she continues to try to tell a story. I think they will use her own testimony in the videos and phone calls she's made. I think that the evidence that is piling up against Letecia Stauch may be a pile much greater than we ever saw or anticipated. The witnesses, the net, the fish, the bait in which you saw caught, 5 of them USAA. Multiple layers of search warrants to get video from very specific places. Multiple rental car. You seen one receipt. Leading up to the days before Gannon would go missing, Gannon's last days were days of great joy. They were joy. Grandma was in town. Grandma spent time with Gannon just a few days before he went missing. Dad was home. He was about to head out. I take great comfort in that the days before Gannon went missing were with his dad and his grandmother. He had one night with the evil stepmom. But the days prior to that were days of great joy with grandma and dad. I don't know when, I don't know if, but I believe Gannon will be found. And the speculation of how Letecia killed Gannon won't be speculation. They will have cold, hard facts with physical evidence with Gannon. I believe they already have circumstantial evidence with video. What you've been listening to today is Dad with a Phone. It's all speculation. I told you guys that I don't do a ton of spec. I ain't gonna try to hear and speculate this and that. But that's what you got today. That's what you got this morning. I got a couple more shows today. I am actually going on a guest on Miss Murder. She's out of Australia. Gannon's story has been made worldwide, but Miss Murder and I have had conversations before about Patrick Frazie's case, and I'm gonna be live on Miss Murder at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That will be on YouTube. So if you go in and just type in Miss Murder Australia, there'll be a YouTube channel that pops up, and there'll be actually an event that's created. You can go check that out. I'll post that event link on Dad with the Phone on Facebook, so you can also find it that way. Right after that 1 hour show with Miss Murder, I'm going to do a show with a true crime group on Facebook. So I'll also post a link to that true crime group, because that'll be a group exclusive live with one of their admins, and they're going to do an interview with me, and we'll just talk about this case a little bit more. You can find me at all the links below. If you want to throw some money in the bucket for me personally, you can do that at the PayPal link that's been scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You don't have to do that. I consider that like if I'm a street performer and I had a little bucket out there and you were like, hey, I like that song he just sang. Here's a little bit of change. That's all that is. I don't want you to think I'm trying to, it's like a listener supported show. If you want to give to Gannon and Gannon's family, you can do that at the link that I just posted at the bottom of the screen. That will take you directly to the church website, where then you can choose to give to Gannon and his family. If you want to mail support cards to Gannon's family, you can mail those support cards, words of encouragements, letters. If you just want to tell them, hey, we're praying for you. We're praying for you over this next year. We're thinking about you as you have to go through this horrendous trial with this teabag. You can send those support letters and stuff directly to that website. Thanks for joining Dad with a Phone. It's been good. I don't know if I gave you something you hadn't heard. If it was a speculation you hadn't seen, there's more to break down on this witness list. I could go on for 3-4 hours right now, but we're just going to let this sink in. I'll give you some more information as we get closer to the next court date. I'll continue to talk about this as information comes out. It's not going to be a quick journey. There is so much to digest with what's going on in this case that this is going to be a journey that takes a while. And imagine what the defense the prosecution attorney said: over 1,000 pages of discovery, over 107 warrants in Colorado alone, tons of video. Should have been hours of video. Nevertheless, it's going to be a long case trial. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for joining Dad with a Phone.